Joining me today on The Culture Catch, the artist Gary Baseman, all the way from LA in New York City. Gary, welcome.
Just for the interview, yeah.
He came in just for the. We are honored to have you.
Well, I'm honored to be here.
Well, Gary's going to attempt to draw while we're doing the interview and hold a mic. Look at this. Look at this talent, ladies and gentlemen.
With my feet. Okay. Now I feel good.
Gary, tell us about yourself.
My name is Gary Baseman.
Is Baseman your real last name?
Well, I don't know if it's my real last name, but it's the name I was born with and my parents' name for many generations. So, yeah, I'm first generation American. My parents came from Eastern Europe. They still have very thick Yiddish accents. They pretty much lost both sides of their family, their parents during the Second World War by the Nazis. And then they came as adults to America. And they kind of instilled in their children, especially me, which I'm the youngest in my family, the American dream, to be a good person and a hard worker.
Well, I've read that you are like a relentless hard worker, that you are like 24/7 with your work.
Something like that, but I'm working really hard at not being a good person anymore. It's really overrated.
What was the defining moment in your young career that put you on the map? Was it Cranium? Was it doing the cover art for that?
The truth is, there isn't one defining moment. There's like a lot of little moments, you know, a lot of little victories, a lot of little wonderful moments that allow you to keep moving forward. And then even the moments that you completely fall flat in your face and you're all completely fucked up, you use those. Actually, probably those are the ones that force you to create even better work. And the successes, you know, you can just like savor, like a good, you know, good beer, a good drink, and then you just move on.
Right.
So, but I've had a lot of wonderful little successes. I mean, I could be kind of cool and let you name them, you know, look at your piece of paper, or I could, you know, be the egomaniac, which I am, and just name all the little, you know, little successes that allowed me to do, you know, sort of like when I first moved to New York, and I did the cover of the New York Times Book Review.
Right.
That was a nice little success. My first piece in Time magazine, my first cover for the Atlantic.
Right.
One that was really important to me was the cover of the New Yorker.
Right.
For Mother's Day, which was really nice. And then doing my first TV pilot, which basically failed and didn't become a series. Or when I had a series that I won a lot of, my first Emmy was really nice. Or my second and third Emmy was really nice.
All right, enough.
Yeah.
You talked about the LA movement. There is a renaissance. The comic book world is facing a renaissance as well. Is that because our generation has grown up with all of this pop culture, and it's all right to grow into it, grow with it, exploit it, or absorb it?
Yeah, pretty much. The idea of pop culture has become an important aspect to me in the art world, and it's just like pop art took over in the 60s from abstract expressionists.
Right.
The new, what I call pervasive art, you can call it everywhere art, you can call it lowbrow, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, is, I think, the appropriate expression for this generation in art of all mediums, from fine art to commercial art, in a way to products. And right now the lines are being blurred everywhere and anywhere. And you know, just right now, you know, I went to all the art fairs and seeing the very traditional art world trying to be as untraditional in their traditional way.
Right.
And the idea of popular culture taking over as a language, I think frightens the hell out of them unless it's done in their own way, and it's going to take over like a giant hurricane or a giant tidal wave. And LA seems to be the hub of it, and I don't know why. A lot of the artists come from the commercial art world, and they were really successful at it. They kind of sacrificed and let it go, and now they've been concentrating on their own paintings. A lot of them are my friends and peers, from Mark Ryden to the Clayton brothers, Camille Rose Garcia, my friend Tim Biscup, Shepard Fairey, Shag. But there's other artists like Marcel Zama, Yoshitomo Nara and Murakami have already They're making inroads in it.
Right.
And for me, what I'm trying to do is really blur the lines between all and any medium. And I have a very liberal view, a very liberal definition of what art is. I have a very conservative definition of what good art is. And so my goal right now is to take my skill as a master message maker, or master visual message maker that I was successful in illustration,
Right.
turn it on its head to be able to work on my own themes, to create my own fine art, do it, if I'm going to do it on canvas, I'm going to do it as an installation, if I'm going to do it as a vinyl figure, if I'm going to do it on a skateboard or clothing or anything. And for me, the challenge is to, where I was really successful knowing the boundaries on how to work appropriately as an illustrator, to remove those boundaries in my own work. Again, you have to edit yourself to create good work, but not censor myself. And to really just try to capture images that will talk about this particular generation and be the markers for the times that we're living.
Well, I think also the internet is the...
I make a lot of money.
Well, you want to make a living. The internet's the democratization of all of this, because it's you talk about the fine art world, those gatekeepers are very, very particular about what they allow into their stable or out of their stable.
Yeah, and it's important. Yeah.
And as an illustrator, that used to be, oh, you can't be a graphic artist and be considered a serious artist. There was that stigma. But at some point, all of this pop culture said, wait a minute, we can utilize these artists in so many different facets of our culture that maybe a fine artist wouldn't even consider because he thought he was...
And where now a lot of the artists are creating products, and people go, well, aren't you selling out? And to me, selling out is when you compromise on your integrity, on your aesthetic, on your message. And when you're creating, quote unquote, products or commerce, being an art entrepreneur, and you're not compromising on your integrity, on your aesthetic or your message, you're not selling out. It's called you're just selling.
Right.
And the similarity back to when pop art took over from abstract expressionists, on a billboard. To them it was like amazing. It's on a billboard, it's on a product, it's on TV, it's, it's in a magazine.
Ads,
Right, it's a newspaper.
Yeah.
So they pretty much took it right off of the billboard, right off of the Campbell soup can, right off of, they took Mickey Mouse directly on model, or Popeye, and they just put it on the canvas. They deconstructed it somewhat, but it's pretty much on model. Our generation, again, growing up within the world of popular culture, we're not enamored in the sense that of the novelty of it, where I'm not taking a known cartoon character, I'm actually creating my own character that represents the human condition, and to tell the kind of stories that I want about desire, longing, control. And other artists like the Clayton brothers, you can see their work is inspired by outsider art and storybook art. And rather than taking just a regular storybook or the outsider art images, they've created their own allegories, their own stories, and putting them on the wall,